Hi guys, welcome back to another video. To be really honest, I decided and went back and forth between filming this or not filming this today about 20 times. Because it does feel weird and unnecessary and stupid to be filming a trivial video like this in times like these with what's going on in Eastern Europe right now. But that's kind of actually the reason why I am now filming it after all, because I'm not the only one who's feeling very overwhelmed and worried and scared with everything that's going on right now. And I also kind of need this right now to distract myself a bit, to think about something else for a hot minute. So I will be talking to you today about the books I have been reading in February. If you are not in the right state of mind right now to be listening to something as trivial as that right now, gosh, who wouldn't understand? But maybe you feel the same as me, you need a bit of distraction right now, so here we go. I will not only be telling you about the books I've been reading, but I will be also at the same time setting up my bullet journal for March, because this is my last, today is Saturday, that's this day right here. I only have Sunday left, and from then on, my bullet journal is empty, so I need to do this ASAP. I will be following actually one of my own tutorials. That's actually the second video I ever posted on this channel. It's this rain umbrella themed bullet journal setup. I used it for April last year, and I'm going to be recreating this for this year's March. I have not been reading that much, so I feel like this video will be kind of short if I only sit there and talk to you about the two books I read pretty much. So I will be doing something else while I'm doing that. Also, maybe you can hear it. I don't really know how my voice is sounding recorded right now, but I'm also a tiny bit sick right now. So another reason why I was contemplating whether I should even film today or not. But I hope to be getting this video out for you either by tomorrow, Sunday, or by Monday. So you have a little something to, I don't know, entertain you, keep you busy, distracted, whatever, in your personal lives. And because I wanted to create this content for you, I decided against all odds to, film it right now. Anyway. Gosh, it's still really hot. Anyway, so I already insinuated it right now, but I did not read a whole lot of books this month. I actually only fully finished and started 3 books, which by my standards is not a lot. I'm already feeling overwhelmed. I feel like I will not even be getting forward with my bullet journal setup at all, because I will be distracted and telling you about what I read. But okay, wait, let me try to do this simultaneously. Okay, so the first 2 books I read this month were these 2 ones. I read the second and the third part of the Gilded series, but I already made videos about these 2 books, so I don't want to be talking about them too long in this video now. But yeah, so the second and the third part in this YA fantasy series. The second part takes place in St. Petersburg, in this winter wonderland, basically. What is even going on? I made this video about how the male main character in this book is being hella stupid for the entire novel, and that's the main thing I took away from this second part. Not much else happens in it besides this main character being pretty frustrating to be around. So that was in parts kind of frustrating to read, but at the end of the day I feel like I pulled something funny out of it, because I made this other video and was kind of fun to rant about it, how stupid he's being and all the dumb stuff he does. But that was the second part basically, and then the third part is taking place literally the day after the other part ended. It's continuing right on. I think by the end of the book, only 1 week has passed since the events of this book, so they're timeline wise they are really close to one another. And this third part, it takes place in Venice, and it's basically this big showdown of what the series has been leading up to. It was, I think, overall my favorite part of the entire series. I liked it better than the first and the second part, because of course things are wrapping up and action is really building up. Because in the second part, as I said, I mean, yes, sure, a lot happens, but considering where the book ends, kind of not a lot leading towards that point maybe happens. as I said, like in the second part, we are revolving around that theme that the main character is doing like a lot of bad decisions. But like in the third part, he's finally like realizing that maybe some of the stuff he did was not that smart after all. And that was also kind of like satisfying to finally have him realize that. So yeah, I actually did like the third part really well. I think I kind of teared up even at the end of the third part. I think it ended kind of sweetly, but to be really honest, I've kind of forgotten at this point, even though it's only been a week. I finished this like a week ago, so yeah, okay. Just like one thing, if I had written this book, this is not a spoiler, but like if you have read it, you can work with me here. I would have, like the word I would have ended this book and the entire series with, it should have been you, and not what is actually the last words in this book. And I also thought like that in the last couple of chapters, it was like definitely leading up to that, to the final word basically being you, but it wasn't. So that was kind of like a disappointment. I was like, wait, what? It should have been you. If you have read it, you know what I mean by that right now, and you can tell me down below if you would have, well, ended the book the same way I would have. Gosh, my voice, I feel like I sound like a smoker of 60 years right now. At least in my head, I sound like, my voice sounds super deep and raspy. Kind of like in that one Friends episode where Phoebe has a cold and she really likes how that makes her voice sound while she's singing.
Got there, be a good little boy, bring me whiskey.
Would you look at that? 10 minutes into the video, I've already made the first habit checker without the numbers. Oh, ridiculous. So, okay, the first two books I read this month, and now like the third and only other book I like completely finished this month was a reread for me. Agatha Christie's The Body in the Library. I also plan on making like a dedicated Agatha Christie video as I make them for this, and actually that was the video I meant to be filming today, but I decided to now film this wrap up instead, because first of all, the end of the month is quickly approaching, so why not do it? Also, like, to film this now, I feel like I would have had to put on too much. I would have had to put up too much of like a, I don't know, fake front to make it like happy or like fun or whatever, and I didn't feel like putting on something like that right now, and I felt like just sitting down telling you about the videos I read while doing this felt a bit more like chill and like low-key, felt more right too. If I'm filming anything at all in this situation right now, it felt more right filming a video like this instead of one of my Agatha Christie videos, but so this will be coming soon. But yeah, it was a really fun reread, and actually, I mean, I already went into this book remembering or like thinking like, I think this was part of like the solution of this particular novel. But having read so many Agatha Christie books, I'm never 100% sure, because I could very likely be like mixing plots and solutions up. So up until like the very last page, basically, I was not cocky. I was not like 100% sure I knew exactly what happened, because there's like always this possibility of misremembering something. And actually, let's say like in the second to last chapter or something like that, I misread one of the sentences. Me misreading that one sentence would have led to like the solution basically being something completely different. So for a second I was like, wait, what? Oh my god, this is completely different from what I think I remember. But then I realized that I had only like misread that one thing, but that was funny, for example. And that made me realize how like I really don't go into like Agatha Christie rereads being, as I just said, like cocky and all confident about still knowing everything about the solution or anything like that, because I'm like, yo dude, I could be really wrong and like mixing up one book like with another, or like mixing solutions of a couple of them and mushing them all together. You never know. Okay, now the books that I continued reading this month, I have already talked about them in like a lot of detail, I feel like, in my January reading wrap up. So this is the Daily Stoic. This is like gives you a piece of ancient Greek philosophy and interpret it for your everyday modern life. And it's like a page a day kind of thingy. I don't know, I like obviously continued reading it. It's not that hard to read a page a day. Though sometimes, to be really honest, this month, I ended up sometimes not reading that one page per day. And then like one day I read like the last few pages because I had forgotten to read them the other days or something like that, because I have just yesterday finished a 3-month internship at a museum, so I was really busy with that as well. So this month I don't know, sometimes I didn't also like feel like reading that much, to be honest. Maybe I am in a bit of a reading slump right now, I don't know, but yeah, continued this one. And I'm also continuing my Agatha Christie biography, though. I mean, if you compare, in like January, I had read the first half, and now in February, I have only read this much, so only kind of like half as much as I read in January. But I mean, that's still quite a lot if you think about it. Like, I mean, look at this. The print is tiny, the pages are big, so I don't know. And also, like, this is not like a competition or like a race or anything like that. But I think I'm just growing maybe a bit like impatient and frustrated with it, only in the sense that because I am usually a really fast reader, like usually I finish like a day, I finish a book within like, I don't know, 3 days or something like this. And now this I've been reading for 2 months, and I'm really not used to that. So that being like the case, so I am growing impatient, as in like I am enjoying it, but I also want to finish it finally because I've been reading it for such a long time, you know. But yeah, what happens mainly in the first half of the Autobiography of Agatha Christie, I talked about in my January reading wrap up, and in this part that I read in February, I think at the end of like the part that I read in January, she already got like married to Al-Shaykh Christie, and that continues, of course, though at this point where I'm at right now, they have already gotten divorced again. We talked about the war, of course, during which Agatha worked as a nurse. She has continued writing some of her novels, and this has also been greatly about her travels. She traveled a lot with her husband, and now because this is already like past the divorce at this point, she's traveling by herself, I think for the first time actually, and I'm really enjoying those like travel bits and pieces of her life, especially because I'm also like super into travel. So yeah, I'm still enjoying it, but I'm also looking forward to hopefully finally finishing it in March. Let's see. Another book I very theoretically continued reading this month, DUNE Part 3. I started this in January as well. I don't know how far into this I got in January, but I would say maybe, like, I did not read a lot of this in February. I will be completely honest. I'm really majorly stuck with this right now. Like, for like the past, I mean, today in the morning I read a chapter, but like I feel like for the last 2 weeks I didn't even touch this because yeah, I'm really not into it, or like into the world of DUNE anymore right now. And I think I'm also struggling with the third part so much because I really don't know where it's going. Also, everything is kind of like really obscure because our protagonists are now like the two twins, like Paul's son and daughter, and the way they communicate with each other and also like with other people, it's so obscure. Nothing is ever like said plainly as it is, but like they're referencing weird stuff, and then because of course they kind of do think differently because they have their prescience and everything, but it's kind of like really hard to follow at some point. Or like, to be really honest, like this is like a third or something like that into the book, and it's still not really that clear what's actually gonna happen, and not a lot has actually happened. It's been a lot of, well, the twins talking together, or like this person and that person like talking with one another, and they're always like insinuating what now needs to be done, but it's kind of like really obscure and you don't really get it, or at least I don't really get it. And so I'm also like not interested in continuing because I'm so lost as in what to even expect. The thing is also, I don't think I like the twins, especially like the boy twin whose name is Leto. He's honestly kind of like an asshole, to be honest. Like he speaks really condescendingly kind of like to everyone else because he's like always like, yeah, you don't understand, I'm only like in the body of this child, but I have lived for thousands and thousands of years, because he has like all these other people in his head and he knows about everything. But that makes him like really unbearable to like be around in general. So like I really don't like him. We don't get to like spend a lot of time with like the girl twin. It's like pretty much always like with the boy twin. And so like yeah, to be really honest, it's not giving me anything right now. And I'm, as I just told you, I have not even really been picking this up at all in like the past couple of weeks. I want to finish it only out of like my stubborn behavior, as in I always finish the books I start, but honestly this, I can't promise I will be finishing this in March because right now I'm not reading it at all. But that's like another part that's frustrating me because, as I told you, I'm used to finishing books quickly, so this is like another thing that I'm like dragging along with me now. And like at the same time, I have a lot of other cool books on my TBR shelf that I kind of want to get to, but I don't want to be like reading 5 books at the same time, 3 of which I'm not really actually currently reading because I'm not into them anymore. I don't know, the situation, it's not ideal right now, like my reading situation. I don't know. Oh fuck. Oh. And now the last book I started reading this month, I'm only halfway through at this point though, is The Occasional Virgin by Hanan Al-Shaykh, if I pronounce that correctly. I picked this up a week ago. A week ago I took the TOEFL test because I need it as like a certificate for my master's applications. I need to prove that I speak English, which feels kind of ridiculous. But anyway, I did it. I passed it, of course, and after the test, I went to like a coffee shop to treat myself, and I went to a bookshop to treat myself, and I saw this. I got intrigued by the cover because I thought it looked really cool. Then I saw the title, and of course the title in itself is also intriguing, like The Occasional Virgin, what's that about? And I read the back and I thought, you know what, that sounds actually pretty cool, and I'm reading it right now. I would say this is like also like in the contemporary novel genre. It's about 2 women from Lebanon, 2 friends, Huda and Yvonne, and in like this is separated into some short stories. Like I have finished the first one, and I think now I'm like halfway into the second one. Like the second one seems to be segmented kind of like into 2 chapters, but it's still like the same short story kind of. The first one took place in Italy. It's about the 2 of them, like they're like, I don't know, maybe 30. One of them is living in Toronto, the other one is living in London. They're like successful modern business women basically, and they meet in Italy to go on vacation together. And I don't know, we get to know about their past, about their upbringing in Lebanon, and also like their relationships with like their family. Also, I feel like it's like a necessary part of every contemporary fiction novel I have read in like the past couple, I don't know, months, years, such as Sally Rooney and all of that. There's always graphic sex scenes involved in these novels. I don't know why, but it does seem to be a prerequisite because they're only present in these kind of novels, I feel like. So there's also like a lot of graphic sex in this one, and it's about like the first story focused pretty much also on their love lives and how they're like also trying to pick someone up in Italy. Like one of them is really obsessed with like becoming pregnant actually. The other one is kind of like more reserved, but actually also ends up finding someone. But yeah, it's just like a short story. It's not like we're following them around too much. It's just like about a few days in their vacation in Italy. And then the second short story takes place in London, mainly on Speaker's Corner, at Hyde Park Corner, which is like a place where people can hold little speeches about whatever and like can discuss those speeches or like their opinions with other people. And this second story right now is focusing a lot on religion and the Islam as well, because one of them is Muslim, the other one is Christian, and they're kind of also like fighting at Speaker's Corner with other kind of like extremist people, because both of these women are really, like as it said, like modern and worldly, and they live their lives in London and Toronto, and they're not really religious all that much themselves. So they're kind of like talking and also kind of like fighting and discussing topics revolving around, well, like Islam and religion in general at Speaker's Corner. So yeah, I am enjoying this. It's not quite what I thought it was going to be. Like I thought it was going to be like a consecutive book, for example, not like it sounds kind of exaggerated calling it a short story collection, when I think in the end it's going to be like 3 short stories. Are 3 short stories already a collection? I don't really think so. It reads really easily and nicely. I'm not really into this contemporary kind of style per se, but this one I'm actually like quite okay with. Like I talked about it, I think, in my reading recommendations by Anya Taylor-Joy, about how I personally kind of like separate this contemporary novel genre into like at least like roughly 2 categories, basically the ones that I like, the ones that I don't like, and how I differentiate those two. So yeah, I am looking forward to what's still to come in like the second half, but I don't know. I'm glad I picked this up, definitely. So yeah, these were all the books I read in February, or like the ones I continued or not really continued reading. I did not really progress with my bullet journal. I'm gonna have to turn off the camera now, stop talking, and like listen to an audiobook or something, and then I can really focus on this. Also, I've started to watch The Office. It's the first time, like I've never watched The Office before, and I'm already done like with the first season, but the first season only has like 10 episodes, so that's not that much of an accomplishment. But like yesterday evening, which was like the evening after my internship right ended, I watched a bunch of episode of season number 2, so now I'm like already like halfway through the second season. So anyway, I thank you for watching. Actually, I had planned, because I thought I would only be talking about the books I read for like a really short amount of time, because I have actually only read 3 novels, right? But now it's like 27 minutes of recording, so actually I had planned on talking some more about Death on the Nile, the new movie adaptation, because I already insinuated it in my what did I even call that video? Like, I'm gonna put it up. Like, in one of these videos, I already talk about it a really tiny bit, how I watched it and I wasn't like the biggest fan of it. And like, ever since that, I watched the movie for a second time on my sister's birthday. And it's not really, I picked up on like a lot of other points that I want to discuss, but like in general, I actually wanted to discuss my thoughts and feelings on Death on the Nile some more, but I guess not in this video because it's already long enough. So gonna be keeping that for yet another video to come. So okay guys, so thank you for listening to me up until this point. Thank you for spending some time with me and distracting myself for like half an hour. I hope you enjoyed this video. Maybe you also got to be distracted by watching it. Maybe you could also get some more work done than me on your March bullet journal setups. And I'm gonna see you in my next one. Thank you and bye.